Welcome to Soul Rising. We're your hosts, Amy and Erin. We're two everyday mediums who are passionate about taking the woo-woo out of spirituality and bringing it down to earth. So put the kettle on, grab a chair, and join us.
Welcome back.
Hey, everyone.
Episode 34. Here we are.
34 of Soul Rising. We are here today. We're going to talk a little bit about what does it mean to channel? Like, what does it mean if somebody says, I channeled this, or I'm channeling spirit? And can just like mediums or psychic channel, or do we all channel? That is the question.
That is the question.
Yeah.
I think we both know the answer to it,
We
but
know
we'll get into
Yeah.
we'll get into it a little bit later. I have to share something that happened. When did this happen? Probably like just a few nights ago. Over the weekend. It happened over the weekend. Okay. So remember there was that thing a while ago I told you where we were awoken, or Alex woke up. I was already awake for some reason. And I mean, I'll say for some reason, somebody woke me up.
Yeah.
But spirit. But the light in their kitchen turned on.
Yes.
Okay, so we have these lights, okay, that we got from Amazon. Alex got to just literally stick under our cupboards for like, at night. So we don't always have to have like the stove oven light on. We have these little lights. We got them. We don't really use them anymore. They change color. They're fun, but we don't use them. We don't really use them. We're watching a movie, okay? Watching the new Doctor Strange movie, which is pretty good. Highly recommend. And one of the lights that you have to, it's not like a tap and it's on. It's like I have to push it.
Yeah.
Okay, and it clicks on. So one of the lights in the kitchen was on, and I was like, did you turn on the light? It's one of the kitchen's lights is on. And he goes, no. He was like, when did that even happen? I was like, did I do that? No. Are you sure you didn't do it? Like you don't remember. And he was like, Erin, I'd remember if I clicked that light on. So it just came on. And it's not like that's connected to our like light switch. It's not, the circuits aren't connected. That operates on batteries.
Wow.
Right?
Yeah.
Isn't that weird? Why is it in the kitchen?
And the kitchen came on before. Who's in your kitchen?
Who's in my kitchen?
So did you like, do you have any sense, or did you like try to ask, or?
I don't know. I mean, this is going a few ways. One part, there's two parts to this. A part of me thinks it's our loved ones coming on to say hi. Yeah. That's part of it. But then another part of me, and this popped into my head because I was thinking about it today, because I was like, oh my gosh, I have to tell Amy. I have to talk about this. I have to talk about it on the podcast. So I'm wondering if this is it, because it popped into my head, as you know, spirit does that, right?
That's something in my head, so I want to see if they're the same.
Okay. See if I always felt there was an older gentleman are you serious? Did you think that's
I felt like there was an older man in your kitchen and he was attached to the house or to Alex. Yeah. That's what, because you were talking about your loved ones and I was like, no, I don't sense your grandpa right now. Like, no, it's somebody in the house, like attached to the house.
That freaks me out, because that's what I was going to like.
Yeah.
Because I
know. It popped into my head as you're talking and I was like, no, it's not family. It's not family.
It's this dude. Okay, so when I first met Alec, I'm getting goosebumps. Okay, so I know it's real. Okay, so I'm going to acknowledge him. Hello. Herbert is a name that just came to my head. Herb.
I love it.
Is that what came through to you? Because I would flip out if that's what it was.
No, I didn't get a name. But as you're sitting with it, I'm like, I definitely feel like perhaps an H, but I was almost going like, is there a Harold, but it's something with an H for sure. And like an older man name.
If you also were getting H too, that's okay. So Now I'm like kind of spooked, but I know I'm not. I don't feel like I have anything to be scared about.
No.
So when I first met Alex and I was coming to his place, I always felt like there was an older gentleman here with that was attached to the house, not family of Alex or of mine, but was like protective of the house, but also protective of Alex.
That's exactly the first thing I got was he's the house, like
Yeah.
the resident house ghost, you
Yeah.
know?
Yeah.
A spirit. Yeah. But then it's attached to Alex because Alex lives there and
Lives
he's
there.
so fond of it, Alex.
Oh my God, major goosebumps right now. Like really big goosebumps.
You'll have to tell Alex.
No, he's gonna freak out. He can probably hear me.
Have you ever looked in the history of the house? Like, what if there's like been an old man with an H name that's lived there?
Okay, so I don't know if there's an old man with an H name. I'm gonna look into it.
Yes, really need to.
But when Alex and his dad own the house, okay. They renovated, like we live with other people, so it's a house with a different
Divided up.
Yeah, divided up. So, oh, I just heard a really loud bang.
What was that?
That was just my neighbors.
Oh God, that's weird. Okay,
It's weird because we're talking
about like somebody banged into a wall or something.
Yeah. Okay. They have a daughter. I'm sure she's just playing. But anyways, okay, so that was fun timing. When they were renovating this unit where we live now, when Alex was renovating with his dad, there was a fireplace, and so they demolished the fireplace. And what they found in the fireplace, they found this like really old birthday card. I'm gonna have to look and see if there's a name signed onto it from like the 1920s or 30s. And it was like, it's like a rhyming theme of like something, 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 wishing you a happy birthday, something, something, it rhymes.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna have to look and see if he has that. I know he has that card still. But that's interesting, right? Because we talk about like energies being also attached maybe to objects or the house or and that card is still here.
I'm going to put in a name too, just in case you get it or there's something with a name. I'm really curious if there's a connection to the name Rose or a Rose, but Rose.
A Rose.
Like, I feel like Rose is a female name now.
Okay, I'm going to have to look into it.
Putting it out there.
Rose. I won't forget it. We have a rose bush outside.
Oh, interesting.
So anyways, but that I was like, and as I literally was on my walk home yesterday and I was like, I have to talk about this. Like, and I was like, I wonder who it is. And then all of a sudden this old man came to my head who I thought he left, but turns out he's still here. Or maybe he's just been, hanging back or maybe, coming in and out in visitation, or maybe he's
privacy.
here giving his privacy. Yeah.
He's like, you guys are, newly engaged. I'll give you a little bit of privacy for a while.
You know what? There's a lot of stuff actually going on, which about, it's private. So we'll keep it private. But I'm wondering if that's what, and we're all good. Everything's all good. So just so everyone knows, but I'm wondering if that's why.
Yeah. Because he's like a little bit of like a custodian.
Yeah.
I get from him.
Yeah. Keeping an eye on things.
Yeah.
Maybe that'll make Alex feel better, actually.
I don't know if it has to do with the chimney or not, but I'm really curious because all of a sudden I got like, like a street sweeper.
Yeah.
Or like if you had like a chimney sweep, I see, as I said, he was a custodian. What I saw was like
he cleaned the chimneys.
Yeah, like or like was a street sweeper or something like that, because I feel as if he's like not a super large man. Like I almost feel like he's average height or
maybe a bit shorter. Yeah.
And like kind of like average build. Yeah. And I see like a little hat on him and like almost one of those, I don't know what kind of cat they are. You know what I mean? Like sometimes old men wear
like
not a fedora or anything, but it's like a cap and it comes out like,
what is it called?
You know what I mean? I see that on him, and I see like I feel like he wore his pants high, like they feel like they're pulled up a little bit.
Okay, yeah.
And I see him like sweeping something, like it's like something about sweeping comes up for him. So interesting. But it feels like more than just like, oh, I'm cleaning house, right? Like for whatever reason, I got the energy of like street sweeper or like, I don't know.
Interesting.
That would be like an old timey, probably like downtown Toronto kind of job, right? Like, I don't know.
Oh yeah, yeah. I'm sure his dad must have information on
That's really cool.
the history of the house, or we can find out in the old
really want
archives somehow. Because that I would actually be, I would be interested to know.
Yeah.
And that would make sense why he's here. Because I mean, Alex, he's he's helped his dad with the property since he was a kid. Like he has such a
Oh, you've had it that long.
He's had it that long. Like his dad was always like, we're gonna go and clean and work on the properties today. Like we're gonna go and do our clean or our daily whatever it was that I don't really know what they did. They maintenance or they kept things up
to the house.
He has a very strong connection to the house, so it would make sense why this person is here, especially
no, I
now.
think Alex does too, though. Like
that's what I mean. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Sorry. Yeah.
Yeah.
So cool.
Okay, so that's wild. Did you, like, everybody watching or listening, like, because I said it and then Amy was like, okay, because I was gonna say this. That's good confirmation.
100%. Yeah. Because if you look back,
I don't think you knew that.
Probably going like this as you're saying family, because I can't keep anything in, so my face shows like when I'm I probably was going right, like, cause no.
I just saw your mouth, just your lips pursed. They just went. I'm not gonna say anything.
That's wild, but that's fun, and I feel like it's such a good example of how energy works and how we can pick up information. Because it's been coming up a lot lately. I'm noticing like a pattern in some of my readings. Like for the most part, I would say like. Because I always ask to go into a reading blind, which means that I don't want any information.
Yeah.
I don't want to know like who they want right ahead of time. I don't know. I think you work probably similarly. Yeah. And so I would say like 80-90% of the time, like the one I did yesterday, for instance, we had like 4 key people come in, and afterwards she was like, those are the exact 4 people I wanted. But there's one more. And I'm really surprised she didn't come in on her own. And I said, oh, is she blah, blah, blah. And I just started like listing off characteristics, right? And she was like, yes. And I said, she just wanted to be invited. She just wanted to be asked. But I've been noticing that lately. Like lately, it seems like there's always like this one I don't want to say straggler because I don't want it to seem there's always like one that like you just have to ask and I'm here. And then as soon as I ask, it's like very clear.
Yeah.
I've just been noticing that lately.
Well, that also was similar with Nikki's reading.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Because
towards the end,
as soon as we clued in who like that was stepdad that was blending in with the dad, right? Because I think when I was like re-listening and like some of the stuff in hindsight that we were attaching to dad was actually stepdad. Because he came through with the fatherly energy, right? Yeah. And you could see it after the fact, but but as soon as we got clear and we're like, okay, we're going to talk to him, then it got way more specific. Yeah, I think it's really cool because today we're going to talk about channeling, as we said.
Yes.
I think we just gave a real life example of
we definitely did like that
how that can work, right? Like so I don't know, I'm just gonna casually plug myself here. I have a blog on my website.
Shameless plug.
So the intuitiverising.com, there's a section called Soul Blog, and if you click on it, I write blogs like usually once a week, at least like 3 times a month, I'd say. The last one I did is like, what is channeling? Because my husband actually asked me, what do you mean when you say channeling? Because if he was like, if I don't know what this is, then like, does the average person know
what it is?
Maybe it's one of those woo-woo words that like not everybody knows what it means.
Like,
so I thought it might be worth a conversation.
I think that's good.
So I'll just read off a quick little part of this. So I said phone calls, text messages, emails, video, radio, social media. These are types of channels for communication. These channels for communication are mediums for information to be sent to its intended audience. A psychic medium is another type of medium for communication, sending information from one party to another. and then I just kind of give this, it's long, you can read it all for yourself, but I kind of give this analogy of that I kind of view myself as a psychic medium being a little bit like a radio, right? So
Yeah.
it's like the energy, the frequencies are around all of us. We all are like this kind of radio for spirit. A psychic medium kind of has the awareness that they are that, right? So they can like turn the radio on at will. And then they can change the station depending. So I gave examples of like changing the station might be moving from more of a psychic information to mediumship connection, or you could switch the channel from like one person in spirit to the next, and how that's an example of like switching the channel. But channeling is just bringing forward information, messages, and it's just like a vehicle for it's just, I think it's like, I want to say like the action of this information being relayed from here to there.
Yeah. What you're talking about, like the image for me that's coming to mind, which might be helpful for others maybe, is like a computer, or when you put something into Google, you enter it and then all of these things
that's a very
come
good
through.
Yes. It's like maybe you could think of what we do as a Google search. For the spirit world, like
somebody's asking us, we're tapping into
the search, like
the search.
Yeah. And Erin and I both feel very strongly that we all channel.
Yes.
We're all intuitive.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
We're all spirit. Like we said in the last episode, we all are on a spiritual journey, whether or not we're like practicing spirituality or not. We're on a spiritual journey.
Yes.
So this is not just like for some and not for other. We all channel.
No, we all channel. I'm going to give you an example. This is a great example. So I was with an old friend, and we went out for coffee or whatever. This was years ago. And I was like, Erin, anybody can be a medium. I was like, honestly, I think you can. He goes, no. I'm like, seriously, try, just, you know what, whatever. It's me. I'm not I'm not expecting fireworks or whatever, right? Like what comes to mind right now? Like, tap into my family. What comes to mind? He goes, okay, well, I'm seeing somebody like doing housework or like putting in new floors. I was like, guess what my dad is doing at this very moment? He's putting in new floors in the house. Right? So I was like, come on. And he was like, are you serious? I was like, I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Like, that's what you saw. He goes, yeah. I'm like, you just channeled.
Yep.
Yeah. You asked for something. You got an answer.
Got it. We just think this is the imagination. This is why we say mediumship can be subtle. This is why I was 38 years old.
Yeah.
Before I went, hold on. So when I talk to that person and I see this old lady in my head, that's her grandma.
That's her grandmother.
Right?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you're like, oh, this is just my imagination.
Yes. That's what I thought.
That's where you're into, like, that's where clairvoyance comes in.
Yeah.
You see it in your mind's eye. It feels like imagination, but it's not. Yes, the only way to know it's not is to like take the chance and say something, right?
Yeah.
So it had to be that time where I was like, okay, why do I see this when I'm talking to this friend? Okay, I'm just going to take a chance and ask her permission.
Yes.
Be like, does this make sense to you? And they were like, uh-huh. And then the ball started rolling, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's amazing, because I think that we're in this time period in history where the consciousness is changing. Like it just is, right?
Yeah.
The consciousness, think about now. I know that sometimes we get in a negative headspace because we're like, look at all the crappy things that are happening in the world. Yeah, but there's been a lot of good things in the world, and like, just equality and inclusion, and people accepting people's genders and their sexual orientation and different races and cultures. And I think we're just becoming much more compassionate as humans. And I think that is a testament to the fact that our consciousness is rising.
We're evolving. We're learning.
Evolving. Yes. Those things wouldn't have been okay 100 years ago, maybe even 50, right? Like if you think about the evolution, even in some of our lifetimes, it's like, whoa.
Yeah. If I talked about women going on strike like 100 years ago, they'd be like,
right?
They'd be laughing, right? But now you say it and you hear it, maybe, you're hearing it and you're like, yeah, hell yeah, we're going to do that, like.
Yeah.
Go
Yeah.
for it. Yeah.
Yeah. So I think like it's just coming through, like we need to focus a little bit on how far we've come and even think about it through the lens of that's us evolving spiritually and consciously. And
Yes.
so it's just going to get better. It's going to get
Yes.
more, there's going to be more compassion, but in order to get there, we got to weed out all this stuff that's still holding us back. That's what's
Because
happening.
there's still things, yeah. We're not perfect. Society is definitely not perfect. Nowhere near it. We're not saying racism does not exist. It definitely does.
Absolutely does. Yes.
Absolutely still does. But I think as time is going, there's a lot of unlearning and unpacking that I would say most. I hope most folks are doing. The majority of people are doing, right. There's an awareness. I think we're coming into this new level of awareness.
I can even speak of some like elderly friends and like people that I acquainted with, in which would have grown up at a time where there weren't really interracial marriage, or you certainly wouldn't have, LGBTQ kind of marriage,
or talking about
or like people,
Yeah.
trans people, all of these things, like that was not something that happened, even 80, 90 years ago. And even talking to those people, you can see like the deconditioning has begun, right? So they're unlearning it, and there's much more acceptance.
Yeah, the older.
And I think that's amazing and very hopeful. And it certainly shows that we can, I keep hearing we can teach we can teach old dogs
new tricks.
We can. We are.
You absolutely can.
Yeah, we can.
Yes.
So, I just think that the more that we like evolve this way, I think it comes like, because love, everybody talks like love is like love and compassion is spirit, like that is us evolving consciously. And so I think as we do that more and more and more, I think more people will be aware of their own connection and what they've always been able to do, and it just lay dormant. So channeling is one of those things. So we had, do you want to give a shout out to our past client of yours and friend, and she's new friend to me, but she does our music for the podcast.
Yes, shout out to Ada, because Ada Heston. We'll link her YouTube channel in our show notes. She does the music. She's a fantastic composer and lyricist and writer. At just beautiful all around. If you like what you hear at the beginning, I bet your boots. I don't know why I wanted to say that. Maybe that's the old man still here. I bet your boots you're gonna love her YouTube channel. So go check her out. But you were saying she wanted to also talk about channeling in the way of music. And is that
like, what is the spiritual connection like? Because she feels like spirit helps her, guides her sometimes musically in terms of her songwriting. And so she kind of asked, would you and Erin talk about that? And I said, certainly.
Absolutely.
And it fits really nicely with this topic of channeling.
Yeah. Ada. She's such a beautiful human. So Ada, just can give you another shout out, because
she's gonna be like, what, when she hears it?
So lovely. She actually, I'm gonna gush a little bit. She actually sent Alex and I an engagement gift all the way from the UK. So and gifted me
your tarot deck, right?
A tarot deck.
Yeah.
Or is this the Wild Unknown Archetypes Oracle deck. Like, just a really, really sweet individual. So go check her out. What do you think about the channeling through music? What are your thoughts? Like, what comes through immediately when you hear that?
So we've talked before about this. I think we did a live once, and we kind of got down this rabbit hole of channeling maybe a year and a half ago. I believe that we all channel. So I believe that, whether or not we're aware of it or not, we're channeling. So I believe that, songwriters, musicians, authors, public speakers,
artists,
dare I go as far as saying some members of the church sometimes.
Right?
Like I believe that we are picking up on something, we're the vessel for that information, we are bringing it to life, we're taking it from up here to the non-physical into the physical. So I think we've talked a little bit before, but even like the correlation, if you think about certain like messages of certain times and how they showed up in certain, say, like music, lyrics, books, it seems like there's a similar like thread of information based on the time period. I think that's very purposeful. I think it's coming from somewhere as guidance and being
absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, what's come to mind, and I had to look it up. So if my eyes looked like they were darting, it's just because I wanted to like get the name right. But do you remember that movie Man on the Moon with Jim Carrey, in which he portrayed the comedian Andy Kaufman?
I feel I watched it, but I can't remember. But I do know that there's a movie.
Yeah. And there's a documentary about the making of it too. And Jim Carrey felt like he was channeling Andy Kaufman. And because he would also walk around, like he would stay in character all the time. I think there's like clips or there's people talking.
Or he has.
He has. And I think some actors would do this as well, like where they're just like staying in character, right? During the filmmaking, because you want to be authentic, I guess, to the role. Even with you're not doing that, like even if you're not in character all the time, I think acting, like I've done, theater, you studied theater. I think that was definitely a form of channeling as well. When you're reading scripts or when you're doing anything, that definitely feels like it's a form of channeling, because you're embodying, this character or somebody else, right? Anyways, it just made me think of that because in the documentary he expressed that he felt like he was channeling Andy Kaufman, to the point where the family of Andy Kaufman was even saying, like, I feel like I'm talking to Andy. I feel like it's him.
And that's amazing too, because I've always really liked Jim Carrey, and I've grown to like really respect him.
Oh, I mean, he's
super on the spiritual.
If let's put it out there, one day if we could interview Jim Carrey, or if we could have him on the podcast, if for whatever reason, Jim, you are listening to this.
No, because seriously, like I respect him so much, and like him, he just seems very true to his, like he's very authentic.
Yeah, absolutely, I agree with that.
People are like, oh, he's not really in Hollywood anymore, he's against all the things that he was a part of, and I just feel like he's likely gone through an awakening process. So it wouldn't surprise me at all if he actually was channeling Andy Kaufman.
And he's very, it's like in hearing interviews, he's a very spiritual individual. Like even if you follow his Instagram, like I think he also paints or something. I think he definitely.
I remember watching this show. There's a show on Netflix called like I can't remember what it's called, but it's got Jerry Seinfeld in it, and he's a host, and he has people come and they drive in his cars.
Comedians in cars getting coffee or something
like that. Yeah, he was in like one of their episodes, like one of the, I think the first season. And I think he showed like his studio or something where he paints.
That's cool.
Yeah, you'll have to watch it. I like him. I like him a lot. You know who else, since we're talking about kind of actors or people in Hollywood, do you know who I feel likely was very tapped into the collective and channeling?
Who?
Robin Williams.
Oh my God, yes. Yeah.
I feel, and
I think a lot of people listening would agree with you.
There was something about him that almost felt like otherworldly. And it's interesting because he popped into my mind really randomly, like about a week ago. And I almost was like, Robin, like, are you here? Here? What do you want to tell? Right? Like, why would you come to me? But I don't know why he was popping into my mind. I'm going to like revisit. There's this movie that I watched when I was a teenager, I remember, in like the late 90s.
Is it? Okay, wait.
No, you go ahead. What do you think it is?
Is it the one where he dies and his wife is going through depression?
What Dreams May Come.
What Dreams May Come. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, listen, I will say that I did really like that movie when I watched it as a kid, but it was really upsetting. I watched it recently because I told Alex, I was like, we have to watch this. Like it's so good.
Yeah.
It doesn't really hold up that well.
Not as well anymore, but
Not as well, but it's still,
1997. Yeah. Yeah.
it still definitely like hits you. And I think there's like, even we should do a segment where we just watch movies and we like talk about
In
it
real time, like
in real time.
I
Yeah.
was just thinking we should do an episode on like movies or TV, like spiritual movies and TV.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, we gotta do that. Yeah. Okay.
Stay
Good.
tuned. That's
Amy's putting it in our agenda. She's the
Sometime
organized
this summer
person.
we'll do that. I have a notebook dedicated to podcasts. I'm the notebook queen now. Are you okay?
Yeah.
Okay.
Just a little cough. We're
Yeah,
okay.
but yeah, I think
I agree though.
Ada's question. Yeah, I think that we are guided by spirit when we're doing any sort of creative work, and creative, this comes up all the time. In readings with myself, what creative means, because I used to have this label kind of in my brain. If somebody said I was creative, I'd be like, no, I can't draw for shit, right?
Yeah,
But
yeah,
it's not just that.
Creativity
You can be
doesn't
creative
mean-
in so
yeah.
many ways, like speaking. You can be creative writing. There's so many ways.
It's like thinking outside the box, right? Like creativity is
Birthing something, like if you're making something, whatever it is,
yeah.
you're
Whether that's physical or metaphorical, you're creating.
you're creating, and therefore you are creative.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think for sure that spirit helps in terms of her songwriting.
Yeah. I mean, honestly, immediately when I heard that question, I just thought of the movie Soul.
Yeah. Yeah.
And because they definitely talk about channeling, whether they don't say
They
it
don't call it
outright.
channeling, but it's called the
Right?
in-between. Remember?
The in between, yeah.
Isn't it
That's
called
that in between.
Yeah, it's like when he was, so if for those of you that aren't familiar, Soul is a Pixar movie that came out.
Yeah,
I
go
believe-
watch it. I don't know what
Yeah.
you're doing if you haven't watched it.
Please go see it. It is a cartoon,
It
but
is
like
beautiful.
adults, you'll like
It's
it.
so good.
We watched it as a family, Christmas Day 2020. I think that's the day it came out.
Yeah, yeah.
It's called Soul, Soul, and yeah, it's essentially about like the afterlife and kind of like the soul's journey and the
soul's journey.
purpose and all that kind of stuff. But they talk about this in-between place, which is like when you're doing the thing that like you really love, that lights you up, like it might be writing, playing music, whatever it is, that you kind of go to this
in-between space.
Physically here,
Yeah.
but you're up there somewhere.
Yes.
And I think that's an awesome example, because I do think that we go to that in-between place and communicate to our higher self, communicate to our loved ones, to God,
Yes.
dare I say, to anything collective energy, universal
Yes.
energy. Yeah.
To Herbert.
Yeah. Yeah. You and Herbert are going to write a song someday.
Probably something about you bet your boots or
Yeah. It's like honky tonk, like twangy kind of music coming through here.
I'll get my chimney sweep gear.
I can't wait. We need to do another on-air investigation, but about her.
Oh, that's what we have to do.
Gotta do that. You gotta find that card, or like go back and like Old City Records or something. I don't know if you can. Is there a place that you can do that kind of research?
Oh yeah, absolutely. And like I think
the archives.
Yeah, I have to talk.
Summer
homework. I know. I have to look into that because I really want to find out. Maybe I'll break out my Ouija board.
Yeah.
And see what comes through.
Yeah. So is there anything else you want to talk about channeling before we go to our weekly card pull?
No. I don't know. Not really. I
So
think that's...
we described it. We gave some good examples. We think that everybody channels. We think that everybody has a connection to source. It kind of reminds me of like when we did that episode about mindset, and I brought up the book by Florence Shin, which was The Complete Works of Florence Shin. The one where it's like the manifesting power of thought and stuff.
Yeah.
I think about this every once in a while. He kind of described, say there's like this big archive, this big collection of all that has ever been and all that there ever will be.
Yes.
Here it is like a library bank, whether it's the Akashic Records, whatever. It's like up here floating around. So when something comes to you like an inspiration, an idea, an insight, a solution to a problem, whatever it is, if it comes to you, it's meant for you. Like it's come to you for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
So you need to trust that if the idea comes to you, it's because it's for you.
It's for you.
And if you don't grab it, it will go to somebody else, right? Because it's destined to come like into fruition. So that just kind of reminds me of that too, like in terms of channeling, like it can be just as simple as like, listening to somebody talk, like when Erin was talking about the energy in her house, and then all this information came to both of us. Or when you gave the example of your friend, and he was like, somebody's laying down. Right? It's the same thing. It's like you can just something can just pop right into your head. It just pops right in, and you're like, well, where did that come from? Right? You can tell the difference between you actively conjuring up an idea and thinking, and like something coming in and you're like
random, because it seems randomly and it's very fast, right?
Yes.
It's super quick how it comes through.
Yes. Yeah. And all that we've learned to do is trust it when it comes in quick. It's like, okay, gotta go. Like before it was like, I don't know what that is. I'm just going to sit on it. I don't know what it is. Right. And then it passes. It goes on to
to somebody else. Yeah.
Yeah.
There's a really cool, I'll just share it super quickly. Sorry. Thing that happened to me because as you were talking, I was like, oh, this is a good example of it. But in a reading, and this happens all the time, we get things and I'm like, I don't know what to do with it, but I know that I have to give it to you.
Yeah.
Maybe they'll give me more information, but right now I have to give it to you. I was getting like the 16th, like was randomly just a number that came in. Okay. And for a reading. And then after the reading, I was watching this TV show, and it turns out it was episode 16. Like just the one that I just happened to click on. I was like, what? Like, what are the chances? Like, right?
Yeah.
So I thought that was really great. And I think sometimes that stuff will happen. For me, that's just like validation, right? Keep trusting, Erin. Trust.
Yeah.
And so I think like you're going to channel. I think you're going to get information. Write it down. Hold on to it, because I do think you're going to get validation in some way. Yeah.
Like it's like the example I used in last week's episode where, I got this intuition about like a few days before, the things happened in the States with Roe versus Wade. A few days before, I'm just like, no by July. Right? Just came in, no context. I'm like, okay, yeah, I think I'm going to do that. I don't know why, but it's kind of, okay, I'm going to do it. And then like 3 days going by, and then, oh, there's this movement that just started, days after I had that.
Yeah.
No by July. That's my intuition, right? Telling me like to act on this.
Channeling, picking up on things.
Yeah. I'm just picking up on what's already brewing.
Yes.
And we all do that.
Yes.
We all do it. Yeah. And so we just take it. Right. And then we get the validation eventually. And eventually, usually validation comes in at some point.
Yeah. Right.
Not on our timeline though. So it's not always instant.
No, I know. I agree with that. Okay.
I've got a beautiful card this week.
Oh, good. Which deck are you using?
It's one that I haven't used in a while, but I've often said is one of my very favorites. It's called the Earthcraft Oracle.
Ooh,
I just look at the back of the card.
I like that.
Love it.
Yeah.
It's so
that's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's really, really nice. Okay.
And I also pay attention to the numbers because
I've been doing that a little bit more lately too. The numbers on the cards. Yeah.
This one, so the card, a number that I picked is 42, and I'm 42, so I just took that as a little like,
hello.
Yeah.
And maybe you go first because I went first.
Okay, so I've got
Does that make sense?
Wild Winds. This kind of reminds me of Wild Woman, but Wild Winds. She's got her hair is all swirling around.
Oh,
isn't it beautiful?
It looks like stained glass. I love it.
The artwork in this deck is thing. If you're looking for a new Oracle deck after July, you can get this one. Do you hear the whispers in the wind? Have you been alone in nature when you suddenly hear a word or a sound, but no one is there? Earth Mama speaks to us in many ways, but it takes time and practice to hear her with clarity. We're just talking about this. At first, you may wonder if it's just your mind playing tricks on you. Do not allow doubt to block the wisdom of the earth. The Wild Winds card commonly appears when a spirit or the universe has sent you messages in the form of synchronicity or patterns like reoccurring numbers, symbols, patterns, shapes, and colors that you missed. This card is a nudge to open your senses to the messages that you have been closed off to. Sometimes a message can be so clear that it becomes overwhelming. Other times messages are so subtle that you must be completely calm and still to hear them. Either way, you're being called to make sense of the little clues being left for you. To do so, you must listen to your heart and trust that you know what is being presented to you. Don't overthink the synchronicities that come into your life. Do not try to approach them with logic and reason. Feel them in your spirit and know that your first instinct is often the correct one. Thank you very much. What? Mic drop.
Yep. Again.
Again.
Yeah. Every podcast.
I'm just like every frigging card. Like this is amazing.
Like as if you didn't need any more proof that magic is real, because this is a magical moment when that happens, right?
Existence.
Like you speak it.
We speak it in. Yeah.
Okay. So I'm using the that's why I asked you, because I was like, oh, I wonder if she's going to use these cards. I'm using the Gateway of Light activation, which I know you use for your higher self readings, which you should do higher self reading with Amy. Yeah. I pulled Sirius Star. Sirius? Yeah. Not like we're serious, but Sirius Star blessings. It says, yes, proceed, be seen, and push through are the key words. And I'll just really quickly say Sirius is the brightest star in the sky and was the utmost importance to the ancient Egyptians. In fact, our current new year was celebrated as the coming of Sobdet. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. I apologize. The goddess queen of Sirius, as during the last week of December, Sirius can be found high in the sky between midnight and dawn. Okay. Says this card draws the bright light of Sirius and the support of Sirian star beings into our world. When it comes to us, it helps us find light in moments of darkness and uncertainty and to continue on. If you feel strongly connected to Sirius and star beings, it's likely that you are connected to them on a spiritual level. Okay, so it says your message is, the message that comes with this gateway is a giant yes. Mm-hmm. I like this. It says it brings the energy of a wishing on a star and seeing that wish coming true. This is a time for you to move forward with any projects or ideas that you have felt called to carry out. Mm-hmm. Okay, because we were talking about the moon last episode too, and I think we're still in that time period when this comes out of creating, right? Drawing things in, because the new moon will be coming out soonish. I don't know. Maybe not. It says there is an energy of positivity, abundance, and excitement surrounding you at this time. Whatever dreams you've been revisiting recently aren't dreams, but premonitions. Channeling. Know that whatever you're connecting with on the inside is soon to be something you'll be experiencing in the physical. So think about what you desire instead of what you fear. See yourself celebrating as if your wildest dreams have come true. And as you do so, you'll be creating the perfect energy for them to manifest in your world. Boom. Throw the card.
Get in, right? Like,
come on.
We grab the idea, we bring it in from the non-physical into the physical.
Yeah.
It happened. Yeah. I love it.
Yes.
I love it. I hope this episode has empowered you to know that you are tapped in and that you are channeling, and also that you're raising your consciousness like we all are right now. Yeah. All we have to do is just to accelerate this is just like be kind, be compassionate, not just for others, but to yourself.
Yeah. Step into that new energy.
Yes. The new energy is all about compassion. Like when we talk about 5D and the new earth, I'm like, that's a compassionate place. People will often talk about like
compassion, empathy. Yes.
Right.
Yes.
And I'm like, it's because the spirit world to me, like as an example, sometimes I'll connect to somebody's loved ones and say I'll have like two people that might not have got along in life, like dad and stepdad or something like that. Right? They're like, they're coming in together, like they're good, they're okay. And I'm like, Yes, because in the spirit world, it's like we blend, we view, we can, there's no secrets. Like the mysteries of why somebody was the way they were, or they did what they did,
Yeah.
like are
That
apparent.
human stuff, that ego stuff, that
Gone.
thing that
Yes.
you thought, this person was such a bitter, angry,
Yes.
they're not,
It's gone. You see
it's
the
gone.
truth of who they are at a soul, and you see like why things happen
Yeah.
as they did. And
Yes.
so there's like a telepathic like communication, right? Like that's what it is. And that's why when Erin and I connect to your loved ones or to your energy, it's telepathic, right? Like because
Mhm.
that's how spirit works, and
Yeah.
that's what the 5D is, right?
Yes,
It's
it's all,
opening up to
yeah.
that place, and it's exciting, and we want to go there, right? Like we want to
Yes.
go, and all you got to do is like have more compassion for other people and yourself. That's how we get there.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay, great episode.
Good one.
Erin.
Bye.
Thanks for listening, everybody. Bye.
If you like what you're hearing, don't forget to give us a 5-star review on Apple Podcast and tune in each week as we dish on all things spiritual.
Don't forget to like, comment on what you would like to hear us talk about next, and subscribe.